Week 17, Giants, Cowboys. Going through what y'all need to know to make some money on this bitch. So, these full game breakdowns, I'm going to be going through the ones with playoff implications. The rest of them, we'll see what happens. So, get in kind of. Reds football team, if they lose, winner of this game is going to represent the NFC East in the playoffs. And the picks real quick. So, Giants favored, or sorry, Cowboys favored on the road by 2 and a over under set at 44.5. I do think it's bettable that the Giants are going to win this game. So the Giants plus 2. I also think the under is bettable. I much prefer the Giants, and actually it's borderline like a strong bet for me. I'll get into why, but definitely on the Giants on this one. So stick around and I'll tell you how and why that's how it go down. So Cowboys offense versus Giants defense. I should mention weather first. It's supposed to be pretty rainy in the Meadowlands for this game too, which benefits the Giants for sure if it's a more run heavy game. Yeah, which like I said I'll explain. But Cowboys offense versus Giants defense. On the offensive line, as far as running the ball, Cowboys are at a disadvantage. Giants defensive interior and even out to their edges as run defenders pretty decent. Their defensive tackles are some of the best in the NFL between Dalvin Tomlinson, Leonard Williams, and Dexter Lawrence. Plus their backups would be starter rotation guys on pretty much every other team in the league. Not necessarily starters, but definitely in rotations. And the Cowboys interior, listen, they might get Zach Martin back for this game. He got activated off IR. I'm not sure if he's going to play or not. And frankly, even if he does, it's his first game back from a long-term injury, and he's had trouble with the Giants' defensive interior guys before, even at full health. So, as a baseline, there's some issues for the Cowboys on the interior. Their guys are not strong, especially Connor Williams, and the Giants are going to be able to pretty much control the line of scrimmage. On the edges, it does get better for the Cowboys, but you're talking about Brandon Knight and Terrence Steele at tackle, who, while I think both are maybe underrated because people just assume they're garbage because they never heard of them, they're not good, especially as run blockers. So while the Giants, I don't love their edge defenders, I think they're going to be all right, especially if they get Kyler Fackrell back this week, who's obviously been real good this year, especially as a run defender. And on the second level, I mean, listen, Giants linebackers still not very good. Blake Martinez, chill on that actually. Blake Martinez has a bunch of issues. This isn't necessarily a game for those though. Really, his issues are sideline to sideline. If all he has to do is make plays in the box, he's not so bad. And finally, they fucking played Tay Crowder as their other linebacker most of the time last week. I've been talking about that since he finally got snaps early in the season. He's way better than David Mayo. He's way better than Devontae Downs. And I'm sure they knew that he got hurt, which is why he was out for a little bit. But he's actually okay. I think he's Mr. Irrelevant too. So I'm not going to write the Giants linebackers off as being garbage. So then you get the overall run game in a rainy day, where they're probably overplaying the run. they're gonna be able to stop the run pretty decently, and it's not like the Cowboys do anything special that helps their offense. They don't do anything cool scheme wise or anything like that. So the passing game, like I said, first of all, it's rainy. Andy Dalton doesn't necessarily handle that great. Not a disaster like some quarterbacks can be, but pass rush, there's real interior push. I mentioned that the Cowboys' interior offensive line is pretty weak, especially Joe Looney and Connor Williams. Connor Williams I like for some things, but as a holding his ground against Leonard Williams, Dalvin Tomlinson, Dexter Lawrence, not so much. And on the edges, like I said, the Cowboys tackles aren't all that bad, but they're still not good. So there's a baseline of issues. Plus, the Giants have shown throughout this year where their guys aren't super good individually. Kyler Fackrell, Jabal Sheard, and hopefully Nico Wallace, because I think he's actually decently. Yeah, I think he's decently. So. They're going to be able to generate some pressure, is the point. As far as the receivers go, Cowboys receivers best in the NFL probably. If they're not, they're top 2 or 3, and that's going to be the case here. Giants secondary, especially Isaac Yiadom. But James Bradbury, legitimately good. He should be an All-Pro this year, Giants corner, and he can meaningfully limit one of whoever he covers in the Cowboys, and two, it's not like the Giants don't run man, fucking press man anyway. So the impact of how bad specifically Isaac Yiadom or their slot corner Darnay Holmes, their bad is just limited. to a point. So while I think the Cowboys receiver is super helpful in this game, they're not all that in this scenario. Then you get to quarterback. Listen, Andy Dalton looked really good the last 2 games, but last week he was playing the worst secondary by far in the NFL because it was the Eagles who were already bad, and there was like their fourth, fifth stringers. It was garbage. And their pass rush is not very. It's pretty overrated too, to be honest. I was gonna say bad. It's not bad. Obviously, I think they're like second or third in pressure rate, but there are underlying reasons for that. They played a lot of bad O lines. Yeah, and then the week before that against the Bengals, right? He was playing against a garbage offense in terms of like moving the ball, so we got a ton of chances. And the Bengals, if they like anything, it's meaningful pass rush at this point. And their strength is in the secondary. When you get the Cowboys receivers, they're just better than everybody, so it kind of neutralizes the strength. So Andy Dalton, though, the point is, I don't think he's gonna be that good this game. He doesn't deal with zone defenses all that well for a veteran quarterback. There is pass rush limiting him, especially like push up the middle, which he does not handle well. And while his receivers are really good, like I said, being this like disciplined zone defense, they're not going to go crazy. So it's not ideal. So I think the overall pass game, now listen, it's going to be all right. The receivers are too good for it not to be all right, and there's not enough, like, we're not talking about like the early season Steelers or some shit for the pass rush. So he has chances, but it's not crazy and it's not consistent. And once they get in the red zone too, Andy Dalton not very good down there. They don't really have the rushing floor needed for me to confidently say they'll be able to score touchdowns. And their receivers do help, but someone has to throw it to them. So I have them at 18 to 26 points. That might even be a little high depending on how bad the weather gets, but I do think the receivers are good enough to move the ball up and down the field. I just would worry about touchdowns and the actual consistency of like maintaining drives. So then you get to the Giants offense. Let's see. So run game first. Incredibly, for one of the first times this whole year, Giants might actually be able to run the ball. Cowboys defensive interior, so better now, obviously, since they got done Terry Poe forever ago, who's, holy shit, was that guy bad. It's still not very good. Neville Gallimore is kind of whatever. He's not like impressive as a defensive tackle. Justin Hamilton, if that's the guy who gets most of the snaps at the other spot, I don't think it is like a complete disaster, but neither of them matter, right? Neither of them do anything that makes me worried about it. And the Giants interior, look, they found something in Shane Lemieux. He's good. And Nick Gates, I was probably too harsh on throughout the year, to be honest. He's a little bit better than I spot in that thought. Now, he still has issues for sure, but here they don't really show up. I actually think he's going to be good in this game. And Kevin Zeitler, again, I think he gets a little bit overrated, but here he's definitely good enough to control line of scrimmage. And on the edges, that's where the Cowboys' real run strength is. Alden Smith and Marcus Lawrence really good edge run defenders, but we've seen that when teams can like push on the interior, no matter how good your edge defenders are, you're just gonna run into issues. And it's not like, I mean, Giants tackle's not good at run blocking. Cam Fleming especially. Andrew Thomas has started to show some things as the year goes on. I think he's gonna be all right, especially next year. But yeah, we'll see. I do think they're going to be able to run the ball because of their interior push, and no Leighton Vander Esch for the Cowboys. So their linebackers kind of blow. Jalen Smith doesn't do anything. So obviously he racks up tackles because he's like fast and reacts late and runs down people in the sidelines sometimes, but he doesn't like matter in terms of actually preventing the other team from running the ball. And they're probably going to see Joe Thomas get a lot of snaps, who I don't think is awful, but again, doesn't matter. So you talk about a team, right, with interior control against linebackers. Like, even despite it being the Giants, I still think they're going to be able to run the ball. So then you get to the pass game. Cowboys secondary, still bad, especially at the safety spot. Xavier Woods is questionable, even if he does play. I've kind of come around. Going into the year, I thought he was mediocre. Now I do not think that. I think he's a lot worse than that. But if he doesn't play, you're talking about Donovan Wilson and Steven Parker. Donovan Wilson has shown okay as a box safety since he started playing, not as a covered guy. And Steven, if you start, you're basically starting like two later round picks who haven't really proven to be impactful in the NFL as safety. That's an issue, especially when your corners, like Trevon Diggs, I do think is good. He's shown good things against legitimately good receivers, but far from perfect, still vulnerable, and can get beat kind of bad sometimes. And there are other guys. I mean, Jordan Lewis, Chidobe Awuzie, Anthony Brown all have moments, but Giants receivers are good enough to get open, especially Darius Slayton is gonna eat in this game pretty consistently. Sterling Shepard too. I don't love Sterling Shepard, but he's good enough here. And yeah, like I said, when it comes to how bad the safeties are, that just creates chances downfield. And Daniel Jones is willing to throw the ball downfield. He has a ton of flaws, which are going to show up in this game. I don't think they're going to go crazy, but him being willing to throw the ball down the field, especially in a scenario where there's not that much pass rush. Now, I kind of skipped that. So with the pass rush, there's definitely edge issues. Alton Smith, legit on the edge, but like I said, Andrew Thomas has been playing better. Cam Fleming is bad, but DeMarcus Lawrence is not like a crazy impactful every down pass rusher, and there's like nothing on the interior, right? So then you're just talking about dealing with one really good edge rusher and one okay, and that's not impossible. Now it is limiting, especially Daniel Jones doesn't handle edge pressure well. There's still danger of sack fumbles as is tradition, but not awful. So yeah, I actually have them at 20 to 27 points, so I do have them winning the game, and I feel pretty decent about it. Like I said, it's just the concern, right, is Daniel Jones is playing against a non-completely garbage secondary, so he might suck, but I just don't think that's the case here. He has enough with the weapons he has. Oh, and I should mention too, no one on the Cowboys can cover Evan Ingram. He might cover himself by dropping every ball that comes his way, but no one on the Cowboys can do it. So, yeah, Giants, I think you're going to win a close one. I definitely think it's bettable. As far as the over-under goes, I think the under is bettable, but I think I would expect it to be real close to that number, except for if the weather is worse than predicted. It's probably pretty safe, but that is Week 17, Cowboys, Giants. Cowboys maybe going to the playoffs. Giants maybe going to the playoffs. Tune in and find out.